Hello and welcome to this video. Today's brew is going to be an amalgamy of Juniper Berries, Wormwood, and Anise Seed. Anise Seed? I don't know. Actually I do know. I'm not sure how it's pronounced. But what I've done off camera is I've pre-steeped my wormwood. I'm using 5.1 ounces of wormwood. I'm using 14.1 grams of anise seed, and I'm using 25.1 grams of juniper berries. I've pre-steeped all this. At this point now, where we're going to start participating in the video, so I'm going to remove the wormwood out of the steep. I've got a pot. I'm going to put it in the pot. I've got cheesecloth. We're going to strain it. Then I'm going to add in my mixture of juniper berries and anise seed. Then we're going to boil it. And once we boil it, we'll cool it and we'll put it in our fermenter. Then I will take and make my sugar water. I'm going to use 2 pounds of white sugar. I'm going to dissolve it in water, do the same thing, boil it, and go from there. So there's going to be some edits in the video here and there, so bear with me on this. So let me move the camera around. Okay. This pot here contains my wormwood tea mixture, and this pot here has the cheesecloth waiting to receive. So let me get I got a slotted spoon. Woo. And I'm going to take this here, and the reason why we're putting in this other pan with the cheesecloth, this pan here with the cheesecloth, is I am going to strain out. I want as much liquid strained out of this wormwood as I can get. I want as much as I can get. And I also, when I introduce the mixture of the anise seed and the juniper berries, I won't have to add as much water. Well, I'll probably have to add a fair amount of water. The main reason why I'm taking out the wormwood is 5.5 ounces, or not 5.5, 5.1 ounces of wormwood. That's a lot to try to clean out of a 1 gallon carboy. And I don't mind, I got a little bit in here, I'm not going to worry about too much. But set this down over here, and see, I'll show you real quick. That is pretty much about what 5.1 ounces of wormwood looks like. It's a lot of wormwood. So I'll move this out of the way for here. And I'm going to pick this up, and because I'm boiling, I'm going to reboil everything. And it's going to sterilize when it gets boiled. So yeah, I guess I could have got a better angle on the camera there. So I don't mind a little bit of wormwood getting in the fermenter, because a lot of that's going to come out when I rack it after the primary fermentation. But there we go, juiced. I got a little bit. I'll probably scoop out with a spoon or something. But I'm going to step to the side and throw this away real quick. A couple bits here. Squeeze that as much as I can with the spoon. Like I said, I don't mind a little bit of the wormwood getting back in. Not a big deal. Now I'm going to take my camera again. my drippings and reintroduce them into here. Now I'm going to go over here and get this other little pot. And this has my Anise Seed and cedar berries, or Juniper Berries, excuse me. It's not true cedar, but, and hit it with some water real quick. Wash it because I want all that anise and juniper goodness in there. So now I'm going to turn the camera off because you really don't want to watch water boil. And we'll be back in a little while. Something I did want to show you is the boil. Don't start your clock on your timer on your boil until it starts coming to a boil, a good hard roll boil like this. You can see everything percolating and being kind of brownish. Kind of interesting. But I'm going to set the timer on the stove for 10 minutes. We'll be back in 10 minutes to crash cool this in there. Just want to add this in, just, you know, kind of an FYI thing. Okay, we're back. Got to adjust this camera a little bit, but there we go. Always some kind of problem with me. What we're going to do now is we're going to take our slurry. It's cold crashed. We're going to take our slurry of wormwood and anise and juniper berries and put them in our 1 gallon fermenter. It has been sterilized, cleaned, the whole 9 yards. So first thing I'm going to do is take my plastic wrap off the top. That just keeps contaminants from getting inside it when I'm not using it. Put in Mr. Funnel. And I forgot a cup. Be right back. I'm back. And basically, I'm going to put this in here. And put and I'm still getting a little bit of wormwood and all that good stuff in there. It is sufficiently not absinthe green. I don't know if you can see it on the camera or not as I'm pouring it. But let's see if we can pour it out of the pot without spilling everything over the kitchen. Go. Rinse make sure I get as much as I can. I'm happy with the amount of everything. And just for the record, I'm going to be using distilling yeast to my hands have been sanitized, and my stir stick, chopstick, get some of the, there's a lot of wormwood here, but I'm not going to worry about it. It's not the full 5.1 ounces, so it's going to be relatively easy to clean out. So I'm going to go for a high. I'm hoping to get a fairly dry. it this way. I'll put a little bit of this wormwood and everything else mixture in here as I drop it all over the top of the stove. But that right here is what we got so far. I'm going to be heating the water up for the sugar. Take my saran wrap, put it back over the top, and set this off camera. And now, pan, water. We're going to heat it up. There we go. So what we're doing is we're going to dissolve 2 pounds of white sugar into the water. Like I said, I'm shooting for a really high alcohol just because the wormwood. Okay, let me step back for a second. Wormwood contains a chemical known as thujone, which is psychoactive on the human mind. Contrary to popular movies like From Hell or Moulin Rouge, it's not hallucinatory, or I've never had an hallucinatory experience with it. I have had increased sensitivity to color, light, and very, very vivid, very lucid dreams. That's about it. It's, in my opinion, not a medical expert or anything, but in my opinion, it is no more dangerous than the alcohol itself or even THC. But it is what it is. Some people, doctors, other people have different opinions of this. I'm not an expert. I can only go by my own experience, and that's not really good data. Excuse me, hiccups. So, while this water is heating, we will turn the camera off and be back shortly. I got some things I want to talk about this recipe while I'm dissolving the sugar. It is a good waste of time while dissolving the sugar. So, see you in a few. Okay, back again. Water has just come to a boil. I'm going to add our sugar. Two pounds HEB brand sugar. I'm going to do it like I did on my last gin, or compound gin. I'll just do put a little bit in. Take my stirrer. I'll turn the heat way down on this. Some of this is probably going to caramelize as my glasses fog up, so I'll take them off. More sugar, mix it into my water. Like I was saying, I'm going to be using distillation yeast, which means I have a potential, if I can get enough sugar in there, if 2 pounds is enough sugar, we should be able to top out at 20+% with the nutrient and yeast energizer in there. So when I'm crash cooling this, I forgot to bring in my peptic enzyme because juniper berries are a berry, they are a fruit, and the peptic enzyme helps with that. I'm not sure what kind of sugars they have, if any, in them. So, much better now that I turned the heat down. So, basically alcoholic sugar water with flavoring. So, which brings me back to the subject of, I'm not really sure, first of all, what a true definition of an absinthe is. Some sources I have say it has to be distilled. Some sources I have talk about simply adding wormwood to wine. And I also have other sources that say simple brewing. So, hence the title. I'll let all the people out there watching this decide on their own what they want to call it. If they want to call it wormwood gin, or if they want to call it compound absinthe or absinthe. And, you know, with that in regard. So, yeah. I'm thinking 2 pounds of sugar and 1 gallon of water. We should have ample amounts of. Well, I'm still debating on whether or not I want to throw in some, what's it called? My brain just locked up. Mexican vanilla. I don't know if I want to do that. Basically, all I'm waiting on now to when I do my makgeolli video is I'm waiting on my glucose. Brain locked up again. It's late. Anise? Yeah, glucose Anise. Brain. Need a new one. And I will probably add my yeast nutrient. And my yeast energizer and my peptic enzyme off camera while this is crash cooling, just to save on time. But yeah, I'm letting you know I am adding that into the brew. This is assuming I can get this last bit of sugar dissolved. Yeah, there it goes. Get in there, mix it real good. Then we'll take it and crash cool it in the refrigerator, and see you on the flip side. Now it is time to add my sugar water and pitch the yeast. So basically, hopefully I can do this without spilling it all over God's creation. A little bit heavier than I thought it was going to be, but cool. There we go. Kind of cool. I am going to let it set. I take it, put it in the refrigerator. The water was a little bit warm. I'm going to probably let it set in the refrigerator for a little bit and get that taken care of. Let it cool down a little bit more before I pitch my yeast in, but I have put my peptic enzyme in, have put my yeast nutrient in, and I have basically almost ready to go. I've got some bottled water. I will probably bring my water level up a little bit higher off camera, but you know, we're looking good right now. So see you in a little bit to pitch yeast. Okay, now we're sufficiently cool to pitch the yeast. I will be using Red Star active distilling yeast. We're looking at possibly more than 20% alcohol. So before we do that, I'm going to pull the hydrometer out of the sanitizing liquid. Get our hydrometer reading. It's telling me about 15%. So 15% is probably about what we're going to top out at, even with the distiller's yeast, because there's simply just not enough sugar in there for it to go. Package says 0.125 to 0.25 tablespoons of yeast, or teaspoons of yeast to gallon. Okay. So we got our quarter teaspoon, kind of heaping. I'll drop you in there like that. Go ahead and put this down to the side here so it doesn't spill. Take my sanitized hand, this was sanitizing liquid. Give it a good swirl. Get some air going in there. Get mixed in there. We'll get our cap. Put it on. Bubbler. A little bit of sanitizing. Put the liquid in here. Put a bubbler together. Put this on. Stick this down in here. And hopefully before too long, that yeast to start cooking. We'll have this good 15% Wormwood gin or compound absinthe. Like I said, I'll let you all make the decision. Don't care. It smells really good. I'm hoping that it tastes as good as it smells. Until next time, good brewing, peace, love, chill.